My name is Hannah, and I used to believe that family was everything. But on a day that should have celebrated the love of my life, I learned that nothing was as it seemed. I'll never forget that summer afternoon, the scent of grilled burgers wafting through the air, and the laughter of my family mingling with country music playing in the background. I was hosting our 10th anniversary barbecue in our backyard. My husband, Alex, the most incredible man I had ever known and the love of my life, stood by my side. My sister Sophie, always the free spirit, wore a sundress that danced with the breeze as she flitted around, pouring drinks and making sure everyone was enjoying themselves. At any other time, the scene would have seemed picturesque, like something out of a magazine. But as I stood there, flipping burgers on the grill, I could sense a tension simmering just beneath the surface. I had no idea how to name it, but it hung heavily in the air, much like the storm clouds gathering on the horizon. I tried to shake it off to focus on the moment, but deep down, I could feel that something was about to shatter this picture-perfect day. Minutes later, a crack of thunder resounded in the distance, foreshadowing what would soon unfold. Sophie gathered everyone to raise a toast to Alex and me. As our friends raised their glasses, Sophie's eyes sparkled mischievously. "To the couple who still believes in the fairy tale," she proclaimed, her voice loud enough for everyone to hear. With a grin, Alex turned to me and said, "Let's keep writing our own story, babe." My heart fluttered at his affection, momentarily chasing away the unease. Then, just as the sun broke through the clouds, illuminating the scene, Sophie continued, "And to the surprises life throws at you." Surprises? My heart sank as I noticed Alex's expression shift from charming to guarded. He fixed his gaze on Sophie, and that's when I knew something was wrong. Maybe it was the way Sophie smirked, or perhaps it was the growing disquiet in my gut. Before I could voice my concerns, Sophie dropped the bombshell. "Well, I'm pregnant, and I'm not sure how to tell you this, but Alex is the father." Time stopped. The laughter faltered, and an unbearable silence swallowed the backyard whole. I felt the fire in my chest ignite to an explosive inferno, my heart pounding like a drum, reverberating with disbelief. "What?" I managed to say, my voice barely audible over the mounting chaos in my mind. Sophie had always been the wild one, getting into trouble, making poor choices. But this was different. This wasn't just about her reckless decisions. This was about my life. I turned to Alex, my heart shattering as I caught the look of guilt etched on his face. He had betrayed me in the most profound way, and I was frozen, my world crumbling around me. The storm that had threatened earlier finally unleashed its fury, raindrops cascading down in thick sheets. The guests began to murmur, the awkwardness palpable as the barbecue morphed into a scene of surreal turmoil. I was reeling, thoughts colliding like waves crashing on a shore, and in a daze, I staggered backward, seeking refuge from the harsh reality. The discovery after managing to compose myself, I retreated home that night, the chaos of the barbecue lingering like a dark cloud overhead. Alone in my room, I needed to understand what had just happened. Was Alex really capable of this betrayal? I pulled my phone from my pocket and stared at it, the weight of uncertainty pressing down on me. Just then, my phone chimed with a message from Sophie. A single line that made my blood run cold. "Don't tell Alex, it's all part of the plan." Plan? What did that mean? In that moment, a wave of dread washed over me as clarity revealed the implications of her words. Over the next few days, I surveilled Alex and Sophie, waiting for the truth to untangle itself. Sophie vanished from social media, and Alex returned home late each night, his alibis growing more evasive. The anger bubbling beneath my surface transformed into a cold determination. I had to find out everything I could. I confided in my childhood friend, Lisa, a fiercely loyal ally who understood the significance of family betrayal all too well. "I can help you, Hannah," she said, her eyes alight with resolve. "Let's find the evidence we need." Lisa dug deep into social media interactions, unearthed old messages, and scoured the internet for anything that would lend insight into Sophie and Alex's relationship beyond what I ever wanted to know. My heart raced with each discovery, every breadcrumb she uncovered leading me closer to the truth, a truth I was terrified to fully grasp. One evening, Lisa reached out to me with a burgeoning lead. Through her tenacity, she discovered evidence of a secret email exchange between Sophie and Alex, hidden amongst the digital threads they thought were safe. "You have to see this. It'll shatter everything you knew." I held my breath as I opened the email she sent, and the content of those digital words punched me in the gut. Alex's words spoke of passion, of an unbreakable bond flourishing in secret, devoid of the love he had professed to me. They were planning a life together, leaving me entirely out of their deceitful scheme. Laughter erupted from Sophie's words, detailing how easy it was to manipulate me, using her charm to mask their affair. The showdown, I realized that this was bigger than just a betrayal of love. It was a calculated manipulation. They believed I would be the unsuspecting fool, destined to become collateral damage in their twisted game. I would not allow them to control me any longer. In a fit of righteous fury, I devised my own plan to turn the tables. 3 days later, I organized a family gathering at our home, cleverly disguised as a get-together to celebrate Sophie's pregnancy. The air was thick with anticipation as I prepared to unveil the truth to them all. What they didn't know was that I had invited a few close friends as well, trusted allies who would stand by my side and ensure I had backup when the truths began to fly. As the evening unfolded, I watched them both squirm in discomfort as I unwittingly dropped veiled hints about my knowledge of their affair. Alex avoided eye contact, his facade of calmness slowly peeling away, and Sophie laughed nervously, pretending everything was fine. Once dinner concluded, it was time to confront the reality of their deception. "Can everyone gather around? I have something important to share," I announced, my heart pounding in my chest. "Sophie has something to tell us all, don't you, Sophie?" Her laughter faltered, and I saw her composure crumble as I pressed on. "You might want to share the details of your private plans with the rest of us." The silence was deafening, a charged atmosphere hanging around us like a storm waiting to break. When I revealed the truth of what I had uncovered, shock waves rippled through the crowd. The betrayal of trust was palpable as disbelief morphed into anger, both directed at Sophie and Alex. "You thought I wouldn't find out?" I finished, looking past them to the supportive faces of my friends. "But now we all know the truth." The fallout was immediate. From a shocked whisper to a cacophony of yelling, it felt as though the weight of the world was lifted from my shoulders. Because standing tall, despite the storm raging around me, I reclaimed the power of my own narrative. I knew where I'd been wronged, and this time the blame would not rest solely on my shoulders. The resolution in the weeks that followed, both Alex and Sophie faced the consequences of their actions, not just from me, but from family and friends who refused to stand by them. They had thought they could play me for the fool, but I became a force of my own. It turned out their web of lies had ensnared them far deeper than they had anticipated. While I still had aches of loss and betrayal, I found comfort in the support of those who genuinely loved me. I turned inward as I began to heal, seeking not only closure but empowerment. My friendships flourished, new connections formed. I found solace in art, pouring my emotions into painting the landscapes of my unwritten story. Months passed until one fateful evening when a deep yearning pulled me outside. I stood on my porch, the stars twinkling brightly against the dark velvet sky. A gentle breeze brushed my cheeks, a reminder that all storms eventually pass, replaced by calm. At that moment, I recognized the love I had lost, but also the strength I had gained. I was no longer defined by their deceit. Instead, I reclaimed my narrative. I had learned to stand firm against betrayal, and while my marriage had crumbled, I emerged from the ashes revitalized. I turned my back on a broken relationship and walked toward the dawn of new beginnings. Thank you for listening to my story of betrayal, resilience, and the unexpected twists that lead us to true freedom. Have you ever found strength in the face of adversity? Share your reflections in the comments below. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more tales of transformation. Remember, every ending carries the seeds of new beginnings.